It will only get worse. Literally only a foot of vet tape, and we got this problem solved. What's going on, everyone? It's Twisted Tape, and today I want to talk about geese. One of the things that happens when you're raising geese is called angel wing. Angel wing mainly affects waterfowl. It's common with all the varieties of geese and muscovies. It is when the final joint of the wing starts growing out of place, typically twisting upwards, causing the feathers to stick out from the body. This happens when goslings are around 4 to 5 weeks old, at a period of time when they are growing rapidly. So she's starting to get the feathers in, so she's losing that down, going through that transition, and that is usually when the angel wing or airplane wing can start. The blood-filled quills start coming in, and the weight of these quills are sometimes too heavy to be supported by the last wing joint. Thus, as a result, too much force exerted on the underlying ligaments and muscles. So we have the wings divided into parts. We got this bone right here. Then we got this part right here, and then we got this part. Don't you love the technical names of them? And before you know it, boom, things are folded wrong and your goose is staying twisted. Talk about dedication to my catchphrase, am I right? And then your goose is gonna be stuck looking like a dork. And it says it's an airplane or an angel wing, but it don't look like an angel and it don't fly like an airplane. So we don't want that. Angel wing can range from mild to severe. Depending on how severe, can range from a simple wrap to mummifying your goose. The important thing is to catch it before the wings are set by 8 weeks. This guy is already a lost cause, both with his personality and his figure. My first geese that I ever got, and I still have them to this day, have this problem. I got them like that. It's really just a cosmetic issue. Not only does it cosmetically look bad, but it's probably detrimental in a goose, especially when they want to go through a doorway and they're just stopped. And probably the goose is just never going to forgive you. Every time it looks at itself in its reflection. These geese breeds in general cannot fly. It just it looks kind of silly when they're walking out stuck out everywhere. Like a sore thumb. Or a sore wing, I guess. Yep. This is one of my baby Emdens, and I want to show you an example of what happens when they get angel wing, what it starts to look like. We can already see it looks like kind of like if your hair was stuck up bad, but if you tried to flatten it, it just pops right back up. So the idea, while it is growing quickly, because almost like day to day, you can see these guys get bigger. The idea is to fold it in the back in the proper, correct position, hold it there with the vet tape while it is growing, and then it can properly align itself back and continue growing the way it's supposed to grow. The vet tape is a perfect tool to use to just wrap it lightly in place, help the goose out where, okay, we're going back in the correct position, and with the low protein diet, help our goose get back to its normal shape. Is entirely 100% curable. I don't want to say preventable because you can still be feeding a low protein diet and it can still get the angel wing. Because to me, it's not so much of a preventable problem, but when you get the problem. Because I raise geese, I've been raising geese, and I know how to give them their proper protein and nutrition and having them on grass. Yet, I still get the problem. Because no one really knows what causes the angel airplane wing. It's just a condition that sometimes happens that is common with geese and muscovies. To put it more into perspective, angel wing, while being a commonly known condition, doesn't always afflict all the geese, but it can happen more often to domesticated geese that find their way to some all-you-can-eat breadsticks. No one really knows if genetics play a role. With that said, we do not propagate any goose with abnormalities. Instead, they simply get to live out their best life. The important thing I want to talk about is that if you do see it, you can fix it. Don't wait, it only gets worse. Act now. You make the small correction and it will get your goose back on track to having those normal, pretty shaped wings. There's different ways to wrap your goose. A lot of people like to wrap it around, do X shapes. But you gotta remember, you don't want to constrict your goose to where it can't walk or be so tight that it can't breathe. So it's minimal wrapping because we're just focused on putting this piece under here and lightly tacking it. And then in a couple days, it's going to be fixed and she's going to be on her way. Two very important things you want to do after you wrap it. Lower the protein on your goose's diet. And when I say low protein, I mean you want to keep the protein level around 16 to 17%. Now, as far as their diet, grass. You put them on grass. That is what geese eat. That is what they operate on. It is perfectly fine to start geese on a 20% protein when they are babies, but you gotta lower their protein when they're about a month old and they start going from transitioning from all that fuzzy down to those glorious, beautiful, shiny feathers. The other thing is, I would have her more in sort of her own place to where she can recover, because other geese or different kinds of animals or whoever you have her with probably gonna pick at it. You need her to be more in a secluded area. I want to say give her one buddy, because geese are companion animals, so she would love a buddy, but don't overwhelm her by like putting her back in your group pen or where you have your entire flock of geese. Another thing I want to mention, when you do wrap the goose's wing, or both wings if you have to, no swimming water during the time it is vet taped. Obviously, the drinking water, but don't let your goose get in a position where it can take a bath and get the area wet. We want to keep it dry. What I like to do is tack it in two places. The first thing I'm going to do is take your tape and you're going to wrap it under this second joint. And we're going to come around lightly. Do not make it tight. See, this is still very loose, but it's secured because the vet tape sticks to itself. All right, now that we got this wrapped, we're gonna come under it. All right, guys, not over. And if you're in doubt and if you're confused, go to the side that's proper and look how it's lined up. The piece that's sticking out like this is wrapped naturally under the second piece. So let's go back to the one that has the issue. See how it wants to naturally go over? Nope. We're going to tack it under. Just like that. Perfect. And so now we're going to take our tape that's already rolled and we're going to wrap it again very loosely. It does not need to be tight. It's just tacking, guys, and it will stick to the vet tape. Wrap it and then again until it sticks just like this. And you never want to wrap and bind over any joint, always around a smooth part of the bone. You're tacked, push firmly. This is now set in the proper direction. Now, minimum, leave it for 24 hours. I like to wait 3 days. You want to check, make sure you didn't make it too tight, and you'll know instantly because it'll be really swollen here. That means the blood can't come here to this wing, and you're basically making it numb and killing it. It needs to be loose and secure. Obviously, it's going to feel a little weird, but it's going to be better in the end. Oh my gosh, guys, on that note, it's time to get fed, isn't it? It's time for lunch, the midday feeding. Look at this. Our goose has got her wing back to going the right place. But I've unwrapped her and she's been hanging out back with her friends. She's very excited by that fact, by the way. And you can't even tell who it is anymore. If the wing was still stuck up like this, just go ahead and rewrap it and keep an eye on it. I'd rather you check it more frequently than forget about it and leave it for like 3 days or a week. It's not necessary to even leave it that long. I use green vet tape. You could use any color vet tape that you like, but you probably want to not get green like I did or red, because red is the color of blood, which those pin feathers, when they come in, especially with the scobies, those hungry little beasties will actually pick on it. Green, because it looks like grass. So maybe you want to get something like a color like purple, where geese wouldn't know what to do with that and they'd probably leave it alone. See how before, if I was playing with it, it would stick back up? Now it wants to fold back in the proper position and perfectly matches this wing. in like that ugly duckling stage where we get the feathers to the down, and it's just that transitional period. You really got to be watchful for those wings. It can happen on one side or both sides. Angel wing is not the only thing or only wing problems geese can get. You can also get something that is called a drooped wing. That is where, again, these pesky, fast-growing, blood-filled quills that come in are so heavy it could be weighting down the feathers where it hangs down lower than it should be. It should be more like up here. This part is growing rapidly, and the muscles aren't strong enough to support to keep it in the proper position. Again, how I showed with the wrapping to fix angel wing, it also helps support keeping the drooped wing from becoming further droopy and helping support it. That's really what the purpose of the vet tape is to make a minor correction, to properly hold something in the correct position for a short period of time and allow the goose to be able to still function almost normally. I say almost because you don't want it to get into any of the swimming water.
Please note that every case is unique. In this specific case that I show for the video's purposes, this was, I would say, a very light, mild case of angel wing. Something that was corrected.
It is so correctable, very correctable when you can get it early while they're growing very fast and all those pin feathers are coming out and we're getting the feathers in, transitioning from the down.
There are other cases that are more severe, and it would take at least 3 to 5 days and sometimes up to 2 weeks of leaving it in the vet tape. The vet tape is a perfect tool because not only does it hold the position properly in place, but the goose can grow with it and it can stretch and not bind and restrict any movement or blood flow to where you taped it.
Highly recommend having this stuff on hand because it is a fix-all for many problems. Should probably wrap myself in this. You guys ever had a problem with angel wing or have different tips and tricks how you approach the situation for remedies? Let me know. Drop me a comment below. Pay attention to your geese. Might be hard if you have a huge flock of them. This is actually a sample of my flock. I have a lot of other geese. I just bragged up their grass eating capabilities, and yet all they're doing right now is playing with turkey oak leaves. So what is going on, guys? My lawnmowers are broken. All right, that's all I have for you for today. Just talking about angel wing and how we can make a simple correction to a big problem. Thank you guys for watching, subbing, liking, and if you have any questions to further specify about angel wing, feel free to drop them in the comments below. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one. And you know what to do until I see you again. We gotta stay twisted.